Hello, it's Dan, the real estate guy, coming to you from the home office. Today we have a topic that's just going to be short and sweet. It's just about traditional real estate investing. If you're brand new and you're looking at everything that I do and you're seeing the magic in it, you need to also know what regular folks do real estate investing that don't know all these things. You need to know that so that you know that you probably don't want to get involved in traditional type real estate investing. If you've already done traditional investing and you started watching my videos and saw the magic, and perhaps the magic keepers, the last video I did on the creating cash flow with multi-unit, the way I work it, it's just such a high return compared to what you're used to. You're also capturing equity, and traditional folks don't. They just go out, they pay retail value. Sure, they like to get a good transaction, but normally it's just retail value. It's hard to find a broker or a real estate agent or anybody that can help you with the investing in traditional ways. They just don't think that way. Most of them just do homes, single family homes. We have a few in our area that specialize in that. When they do, they're usually looking at what we call a cash on cash return. They're saying, here's a duplex, they're all selling for $150, so you're going to pay around there, right? Here's the rents, here's the expenses. They might use a cap rate, to figure out exactly what's going on there with the cash on cash return. They're going to ask you to put 20% down, perhaps 30% down, and then get a loan, conventional loan for the rest. And then look at the flow at the end of the month and the end of the year, and look at what kind of cash are you getting as a return on the little bit of cash that you put in. It's not really a little bit. 20 to 30% down can represent a lot of money. As you know, by looking at that last video, creating cash flow with multi-unit properties, I rarely have any money in my transactions. I might use my money but get it back, all right? They're just looking at doing it a traditional way. And you need to know what thinking in the box is so that you can appreciate my method, which is more or less thinking outside the box, all right? And it's not real different. A lot of successful investors use some of the techniques that I've learned over the years and that I've used, because that's the only way you can really get high performance out of real estate. If you use a traditional method, it's really best for those like doctors and folks who have a lot of income. They're just looking for an investment. They don't care if they capture any equity. They don't really even care if it makes very much money. They just have so much money they got to stick it places, So they buy a duplex or a 4-unit building or a small apartment building, and they plan to just hold it for a really long time because they have to put their money somewhere. And that's fine for them. It really is. But if you're the little guy looking to use a limited resources, maybe you're even using private investors' resources because you don't have a lot of your own, you need to use my methods and supercharge your real estate investing and really outperform the traditional method by a long ways. So most people in the traditional world, they just look at cash on cash return, and they're looking at small returns. They're looking at, oh wow, if they make 8% or 9% or 10%, they think they're doing well, As you know, I wouldn't even work for that. It doesn't work for me. It's too much trouble to work for such a small amount, all right? It forces them to think really long term because they can't really do anything with the property once they buy it. They didn't capture any equity. So they're certainly not going to turn around and sell it. If they want to sell it in a year and the market hasn't moved up at all, they can't sell it, not without losing money. So it forces them to really look long term. And again, that's fine for some people. It meets their criteria, it meets their goals, it meets their knowledge level, which is near zero. You see, they're going to depend on professionals to hopefully line them up with a good property. It's not that good because that professional a lot of times is just thinking about their commission. I mean, a lot of them, if they're smart, they're really thinking about the customer as well. They want to do multiple transactions, but they're not going to fight for them to get them some equity. They're just going to sell them a property and look forward to the next one. All right, so there's no equity garden. If you've watched that video, an equity garden, building an equity garden, they're not doing that. They can do it over a very long term again, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. That property is going to be fine for them. All right? Some of them are even looking for tax benefits. Remember, I don't give tax advice, but there may be some benefits to them in that scenario that helps them with that little bit of return that they're getting. All right? If there's any problems with the property, it completely wipes out that tiny little return that they're getting, right? They experience more vacancy, for example, or they experience a problem such as they have to end up doing a roof when the roof looked good. Turned out there was a problem in construction, whatever. It just wipes out any small little return that they were going to get, and that is kind of sad. It's not good for the investor who really wants to do something and build something in the real estate world It is okay for the folks with more money than they know what to do with, and they just want to park it somewhere. That's fine. All right. It really is hard to win with a traditional method. It's far better to use our methods, the methods I've learned over the years and used, where you're capturing incredible amounts of equity per building, and you're also creating cash flow every building. You have the ability to get your money back out, and yet the building still pays you after you have no money in it. Remember, this is out of the box thinking, but what I think about when I buy an income property, I have two questions that I ask myself. One, when do I get my money back? You see, most people might ask that question on a traditional method, but don't expect to get it back for many, many years. I often will buy a duplex that's worth $140,000 to $150,000 in today's market, but I bought it for $80,000. When am I getting my money back? About 10 days. 10 days to 2 weeks, because I might have paid $80,000 cash for it, and then I call up my investors or email them in today's world. They put in $80,000 to $90,000 in an escrow, giving me back my money. Then my next question, question number 2 is, after I have no money in the transaction, how much is that property going to pay me every single month in order for me to hold that property? Because I don't like holding properties at even flow. Just don't like it. All right, so the question on that particular property, I paid $80,000 for it. I get an $80,000 or $85,000 loan, so I have no money in it now. My money's back to me so I can use it for another transaction. And then the property sits there with $400 or $500 in positive cash flow above my payments and all my other costs. My payment, my taxes, my insurance, my property manager, if I have a landscape guy mowing the lawn. After everything, everyone's getting paid, there's still $500 left to pay me. So now I have no money of mine in that property, and yet it's paying me $500 a month. I like those, all right? 10 of those would be $5,000 a month. A lot of you would enjoy building a nice $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 a month in positive cash flow. And you can do it with the same money. I could use that money, pull it out, use it again, pull it out. Remember from the last video then, after we've had the private money on there at a higher rate for a while, we can then refinance with a conventional loan lower, increasing that $500 cash flow to maybe $700 or $800. Paying back the private party who's only going to want to re-employ that money. If you have another property that you can put in escrow, he'll put the money in escrow and record a note and deed of trust. Remember, those are all the videos. There's on the notes and deed of trust, on raising the money, the private money, the creating cash flow. It's all the different videos. This is why this is a multi-million-dollar education that you're getting by watching my videos, because this has been 25 years in the making and over 1,000 transactions. I'm now ready to share. These techniques are straightforward. They're not thought about by traditional investors. They just aren't. If they knew about them, they would never do a traditional transaction. It just doesn't make sense. After you know how to do our methods or my methods, why would you do traditional? Doesn't make any sense. All right? So think about that. If you need to go back and watch the Magic Keepers video, or the Creating Cash Flow with Multiple Units video, or the Raising Capital video, or the Notes and Deed of Trust, do those. That little package right there will give you the information you need to get going in this. Of course, you're going to also want to know how to value properties. That's comping properties my way. All this information is going to help you get these solid transactions that are not traditional. Traditional, for the most part, doesn't work, right? All right, I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.